All right, let's talk about solar and energy subsidies. Is that what's coming from the government for Christmas or before the election? What is it?
I think it is. And I think, in fairness, this is a Nine newspaper story saying there's a plan for maybe a subsidy for solar panels of $1,000 coming from government and opposition. I think I've even said to you before, I've heard the Nationals are keen on this, but it might be a race to announce this policy now because the Finance Minister Katy Gallagher didn't rule it out on the show yesterday.
Looking at how we support households with energy transition is, a critical discussion for government. We're looking at all ways we can do that. We've been doing it with energy bill rebates. Obviously, the states have programs usually around solar and batteries. If we can do something that supports households to deal with the costs of the energy transition, of course, we're considering all matters relating to that.
We've always talked about, since they've announced it, the opposition's immigration policy works well, particularly in those marginal seats around Sydney and Melbourne, but there's always been a few issues with the detail. There was a bit of a stuff-up yesterday. I
believe so. Look, one of the main issues is, when you talk about the detail we've spoken about, it's just so hard to achieve to have net immigration. You'd put the brakes on the economy, right? Yeah. So, and you've got the family reunion stream. Unless you pass law and you've got to get that through the Senate, you'd have to change family reunion almost. But this was a situation yesterday where I was talking about the new housing policy. They say we'll build 500,000 homes from Peter Dutton, $5 billion fund. And I mentioned this policy to cut net migration and ban temporary residents from overseas from buying property for 2 years. That's what Peter Dutton's talking about. Jane Hume said that will lead to 300,000 more homes for Australians. I was told yesterday, and I've checked, the opposition policy is 100,000. They said 100,000 in Peter Dutton's budget reply speech. So I think it's a bit of a misstep here from the Shadow Finance Minister. Well, your announcement already on housing policy to stop banning temporary residents from overseas from buying homes for 2 years. Has the opposition done work on how many more houses that will lead to people of Australian descent owning?
Well, I think that the combination of winding back the migration program and also the temporary ban on foreign owners of Australian homes is expected to free up around 300,000 homes. That was Peter Dutton's announcement back in the budget and reply last year. This new policy is expected to provide an additional 500,000 homes.
Okay, Jane Hume,
it's all about additionality.
Where do those? Who's done the modelling? Who's done the modelling? Who's done the modelling on those two figures? Where do they come from?
Well, these policies have been acknowledged and supported by the Property Council of Australia, by Master Builders Association, by the Urban Development Institute. This is not something that the Coalition have done on their own.
Do the figures come from those two bodies?
So, the Master Builders Association, the Urban Development Institute and also the Property Council have told us that this $5 billion fund will make all the difference to making sure that we can leverage those greenfields and brownfield sites with enabling infrastructure, and they can start building straight away.
Okay, there's Jane Hume.